Hello everybody and welcome to Project Cars Developer Livestream number 2, Project Cars 2 Developer Livestream number 2 I should say. We're here today this week to talk to you more about the game, but specifically about all the new cars and tracks that are coming to Project Cars 2. And that's me coming out of the speakers there, so let's ignore that. So yeah, we're here to talk to you about new cars and tracks that are coming to the game. I'm here with Chong.
Hello.
Rod is the CCO of Slightly Mad Studios, and he's one of the main people involved in choosing which cars and tracks come to the game, and also has an encyclopedic knowledge of all things racing. So he's going to be taking you through the car and track list, showing you some of the new stuff. And then later in the stream, we're also going to take some requests from you guys. I'm going to show you some of the cars and tracks that you want to see. So store those ideas for combinations in your head for now. And I'll pretty much just going to hand over to Rod and let him talk to start with. So Rod, you want to start to take people through what's on offer?
I thought we could start up by talking for 2 hours about the Porsche 935 that we're seeing here, and then you could drive it for a further 2 hours. Does that sound like a good idea?
Everyone just switched off.
Oh. Okay, fine. Well,
we need some variety, but this is a great place to start.
Yes. Well, I'm part of the team that selects the cars and tracks that go into Project Cars 2. So right now we're here looking at the Porsche 935 77, the 1977 version of the car. But what we're going to do here, if I just back out of here, we've got the car select screen for the quick race part of Project Cars 2. And you can see that we're grouping the vehicles by classes. So one thing that's new with Project Cars 2 is that we've gathered together different groups of cars. One of the things when we were looking at Project Cars 1, we had a lot of very iconic, legendary race machines in Project Cars 1, but there were a lot of machines that we are now calling orphans, where you get some amazing machine from the late 60s, but you could race it with itself. So what we've done in the case here with Project Cars 2 is we've gathered together different selections of machines that would have naturally appear on the track together. So we started out by looking at the late 70s, early 80s. This is one of my favorite eras of racing with, you can see here, we've got Group 4, Group 5, and then Group 6. So we'll just quickly look through the Group 5 cars. So these are machines which started racing in the late 70s, and they're quite well known for their crazy body kits and outlandish amounts of horsepower. You can see the Porsche here has 760 horsepower and gobs of turbo lag, and they're quite a challenge to drive, but also a lot of fun. So in Project Cars 1, we had the BMW 320 Turbo, and then we had the Zack Speed Capri, both amazing machines. But to that, we've also added the Porsche 935. We can take a quick peek at that. And I have pressed the wrong button. Yay! Okay, let's do that again. Down. Beautiful.
Why this time?
We rehearsed this.
We did 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Why this time?
There we go. There it is. Yeah. So again, I'm happy to stay here for several hours. If that's no, okay, we won't do that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see me asleep in the foreground. So.
This doesn't make you want to cry. Just feel so happy. We also have a Nissan, a super silhouette car, which raced in Japan only. And for those people that are JDM fans, this is quite a legendary. You should let people take a look at that one close up, because that thing does look mad. Yeah. Interestingly, we built the entire engine and suspension, everything underneath here. But you have to get in an accident with the car for the whole front end to come off before you can appreciate all those intricate details. Ah, beautiful. Anyway, let's move on. We also have here the Group 6 cars, and these cars also raced in the late 70s. We've got the 1977 Le Mans winning Porsche 936, and it naturally will race against the Renault Alpine, which won Le Mans in 1978, as you know, right, Joe?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
What's also cool is that you could make a multi-class race. You could add the Group 6, Group 5 cars, which are about the same speed, and then populate it with the Group 4 cars or even some other historic cars to get in the way, be mobile chicanes for you.
I wasn't kidding, by the way, guys, when I said Rod is a human encyclopedia for this stuff.
Beautiful. Also sporting that iconic martini livery. All right, so let's move on. We also have the 1980s selected here and showcased here with these three cars, the Sierra M3 and the 190E. These cars did appear in Project Cars 1, but as part of the special downloadable collections that you get if you pre-order, you can also get some additional machines which we're not showcasing today, such as the R32 GTR and the V8 Audi DTM car.
This is where it starts to get really cool, I think, this section.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us on the team that are pretty hardcore sports car fanatics, and for us this is a beautiful thing. We've even gone to the trouble, let me back up here. Let me just talk about these machines. So these are mostly Group C cars, which started racing in the early 80s and they went on to the early 90s. And we've gathered together a pretty iconic group of cars. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier about orphans, we have the Mercedes Sauber C9, a Group C car, which did appear in Project Cars 1, but now it has lots of friends to race with. So you can recreate your favorite mid-late 80s endurance race if you want to. So we've got the Jaguar. How do you say Jaguar? Jaguar?
Jaguar.
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 Jaguar. I can't say it.
You're in England now, right?
Okay, sorry. The XJR9. And you can see here that we've done both the low downforce LM version. You can just note the top speed of 240 miles an hour. Fairly quick, I'd say. Or the high downforce version, which is much lower top speed, but you're going to want to select the different versions of these cars depending on what type of circuit you're at.
Or you can just choose the low downforce person and drive it on the Nordschleife if you're a madman.
That's true.
Anytime, anywhere and all that.
We also have one car which raced in America in the late 80s, the GTP ZX Turbo. This car, the real car, exists in storage in a basement in Tennessee. It's part of the Nissan collection. So we had to go there and scan this machine. And yeah, it's all downforce. It's not going to be able to keep up with the low downforce Group C cars if you take it to a track like Le Mans, but pretty epic machine nonetheless. This car won the American Camel GT Championship in the late 80s 3 years in a row, as we all know, right?
All the best cars, you can tell they're cool when they have wheelbase is so long and the wings are so big we can't fit them on the screen in the showcase mode.
I'll just point out 900 horsepower. Fantastic stuff. And then we have, I'm sure a lot of people watching this are going to be Porsche fans. So we have two variations of the 962C, the short tail high downforce version, and then the long tail version. And for those that are really geeks out there, this is the 1987 spec if you want to get technical, or the 1988 spec for the long tail.
You saying, if you want to get technical, implied we haven't been technical so far.
Oh, I'm trying to, keep things more general for you. Anyway, for the children, right?
For the kids.
Yes, for the kids. It's also worth noting here that we've done a lot of liveries from back in the day as these cars raced in the mid-late 80s all over the world. So for those people that are into their retro racing from the 1980s, you can recreate all sorts of golden eras of sports cars, which is quite fantastic. Right. Oh, we've got matching shells, liveries. Well, let's move on. And I hit that button again.
Press A again.
Oh, dear. Right. Okay. Here we are. And then we're going to go that, and then we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the 1990s now. Late 90s, the GT1 era, which was a very short era, just between the years. Well, GT1 started in 94, 95, but it was really 1996 to 1998, which is considered the short, amazing golden era of this category. So those of you who have had Project Cars 1 will note the long tail McLaren and the the Mercedes-Benz CLK LM. And we've added a lot of friends for these cars to race against. First off, we have the Ferrari F50
Press that Y button,
GT.
Rose.
Y button, okay, I'm gonna, there we go, thank you. With your help, we can do this.
And this, yeah, the Polycard doesn't play on the stream because we're small in the corner of the screen, but I'm definitely not biased watching you pick this car while I'm wearing my Ferrari jacket today.
Well, this car, interestingly, never raced. It's the race car version of the F50 Ferrari, the F50 GT. It was built for the GT1 category, and it was supposed to race in the 1996 season, but Ferrari canceled the program. I believe they built about 3 chassis, but we thought it's such an amazing machine, we have to put that into our GT1 category. But we can look at what else we got here. We've got the long tail 1998 version of the Nissan R390, bit of a Le Mans special. This car raced as a short tail version at Le Mans in 1997, and then but we've chosen to do the 1998 version because we've tried to gather together a lot of 1998 spec cars which were battling at Le Mans in 1998. So let's just take a quick look. So we had to go to Japan to go to Nissan's private race car collection in a warehouse called Zama, and we got access to the car there, and then we've got the real deal here. We've had the model, you can see through the grille there, all the suspension components are there, and under the glass also the full engine and everything have been faithfully recreated.
I think it's fair to say, just from going through this list as well, that the success of the first game has allowed us to go to car manufacturers and really go and get the cars that we're super passionate about and that the team are really passionate about, and really fill out the roster of where there were gaps before, like adding the Porsches, adding the Nissans, adding the Ferraris of this world. It's quite a special list that we've curated, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we were able to walk in the door at Porsche and say, hey, look, we made Project Cars 1. We want to work with you for Project Cars 2. And of course, they're interested. We're fully committed to simulating all aspects of motorsport. And they love also that a lot of us on the team are really into the lineage of racing, going back to the 70s, 80s, and even earlier. So this particular car is the 1998 Porsche 911 98. This car won Le Mans in 98. I keep saying 98 over again. It is not number 98 though, thankfully. This car battled against the Mercedes all season, also in the FI GT championship, but it didn't fare very well against the Mercedes that much, except at Le Mans where it was victorious. And interestingly, after this car raced, Porsche withdrew from prototype racing, and it was only more recently that they showed up again at Le Mans to take part in the top class. Quite a machine. I got to sit in it.
Just casually drop that in at the end of the conversation.
Well, it's interesting. Porsche keeps all of their race cars either in their museum in Stuttgart, but they have this secret warehouse. Maybe I'm not allowed to talk about that. Well,
you've already done it now, right?
Okay. Well, they have a warehouse filled with all their race cars that aren't in the museum, and there's several hundred cars in there at any one moment, and you literally can walk around and say, okay, we want that one, that one, that one, that one, and then they'll roll the car to a special area, and then you can start taking pictures and scanning as you need to. All right, so GT3. So GT3 is one of the most popular types of racing, or I should say racing category with Project Cars fans. So we knew that we needed to go in and, well, add
everything.
Everything, yeah. We've been a bit completionist when it comes to GT3. We wanted to get as many of the new cars as possible. So starting out here, we can look at the NSX.
Wait, you press the right button this time.
Yeah, I'm getting the hang of this. I think I've played this game before. So yeah, we have a very good relationship with Honda, and we went to them and said, hey, we know that you're going to be GT3 racing next season. This was well over a year ago that we heard about this car. And we got very early access to the original prototype, the the show car that debuted at the New York Auto Show last year. We first got access to that car and the CAD of the car, but we built that car and put it in game. But as the car would be finished, they were still working on the real life race car. So we'd finish the car in game, and then we'd find out that something had been changed. They would change the cockpit. They changed a lot of details around the back of the car. So we had to keep updating it because Honda and Acura, they were still building the race car as we were working on the in-game model. You can see here that we've also updated to the latest spec of the Audi R8. You can also see that we're getting a bit crazy with the endurance version and the sprint version. You can see the endurance lights on the cars there. We've got the M6. We've done both the GTE and GT3 versions of the M6. Quite a big, sexy car, I think. I quite like that.
Yeah, this and the Bentley look really out of place somehow compared to the other GT3 cars, but they have a bit more of a stance and a presence to them compared to the kind of more traditional sports cars.
Is this more interesting for you, just because it's newer?
This is, to be fair, yeah, this is more my era. I like the historic stuff, but I'm really into
You're too young, aren't you?
I want to drive what I'm seeing on TV. That's my problem, I think.
Okay. Hey, well, you can make out the little serial number on the headlight there. Didn't notice that before. Okay, so yeah, you can see there's all different variations of the Bentley, including endurance versions again. We've got the Cadillac that's always at the front of the Pirelli World Challenge race series in America. We've got the Ferrari 488 GT3. I know you don't like that car very much.
No, it's terrible. Not interested. Move on.
Just kidding. Okay, let's have a look.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets in that category, I think. It's pretty special to be able to. I mean, we only announced Ferrari a week ago, and it's still kind of spine tingling that we get to include them, and yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got to work with the drivers of this particular car from Scuderia Corsa. They run in the IMSA series in the US, and they kept coming into the simulation center where we do some development work in Los Angeles, CXC simulations, and they were practicing in the simulator before races. So they came in before Long Beach Grand Prix, tested the game out, practiced. They came in before the COTA race, and then they also came in before Le Mans and drove the GTE spec car as well. So, and interestingly, they did quite well in the races. I don't know if we can take credit for that, but
all the credit, obviously.
No. But anyway, it's still pretty cool that we got to collaborate with the drivers on that. And then you've got new AMGs, all sorts of things. Anything else you want to look at? We've got our...
Do you want to talk a little bit about the GTE cars? There's a couple of cool things in there that are a little bit different. And we already saw one person in the chat already asking what the difference was between the GT3 cars and the GTE cars. I think they might be slightly lower down the list.
Well, there's actually quite a lot of difference between GT3 cars and GTEs. GTE cars tend to be more focused around manufacturer racing, and there's very strict homologation rules around GTE cars. I'll just bring them up here.
We should show the Ford, I think, while you're describing the differences.
Whereas GT3 cars has got a fairly open rule book as to what you can do to the car as you convert a road car to a race car. But what the organizers of GT3 do, they're the organization called SRO, is they do something called balance of performance, where the manufacturer of a GT3 car needs to give an example of that car to their technical team and a test driver, and then they prepare balance of performance. That's usually weight, ballast weight, and restrictions on the intakes, which controls the amount of power the car has, and maybe things like the size of the wing. And the net result is that every GT3 car, in theory, will be able to do a similar lap time. There is something like balance of performance with GTE, but the cars themselves are much more strictly controlled. This is a Ford GT, by the way. Quite a beautiful machine. So in terms of GTE, we've made sure to gather together as all the active cars that we can find. So you've got the Ferrari, you've got the Corvette that originally was available as DLC for Project Cars 1. And we've been working very closely with Tommy Milner, one of the drivers of this car. And he's spent a lot of time working on the in-game physics for this machine. So you can be guaranteed that when you drive this car in-game, it handles exactly like the real thing. And the driving techniques that you'll use will be the same as what Tommy Milner would be doing in real life.
Yeah, you guys can head over after the stream to youtube.com/projectcarsgame. You can check out a short film we put together with Tommy Milner describing his work on the Corvette as well.
Okay, it's also worth mentioning that we've also done GT4, which is a pretty exciting category. We've been a little bit less completionist here, but we've still got some of the key machines, like the Cayman, which is a fantastic little race car. And then let's keep going down. We're going back.
We'll go back in time again.
Yay! So here we are in the late 80s again, and we've got some absolute monstrous machines here. I think so, anyway. I don't know. What do you think? Is this a monster to you?
This car is really weird. It's like split personality, because the turbo lag is so bad that when it kicks in, it just this horrendous, insane burst of power. But at the same time, it's four-wheel drive, so it's actually quite easy to drive with all that power. It's actually not that much more difficult to drive than some of the GT3 cars.
Well, I think it is over 700 horsepower, but yes, you've got the benefit that it's putting down the power on all four wheels. I'm sadly old enough to say that I actually saw this car race in the late 80s. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm only a few years older than you, though, right?
Oh yeah, only 2 or 3. Yeah,
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
That's right. So we've got also the Ferrari, which also raced in America in the IMSA series in the late 80s. Same year as the Audi here, and then we've also got the Nissan, which raced a few years later, but there was some overlap with some of these cars. Also raced in America. Quite an amazing machine. This is a tube chassis car, so it literally is
a death trap.
No, no, it's not. It's built like a brick something.
Family show.
But it basically is a Nissan 300ZX themed silhouette on a tube chassis. I find this car quite difficult to drive. You sit very far back in it, and it's like you're looking down a tunnel. The windshield is very far away from you. And I find it almost claustrophobic to be inside this car when I'm driving it in VR.
Yeah, all the race cars in the game that have kind of longer noses, or where you sit further back in them, especially in cockpit and VR, it's very tricky to place the front wheels, but then that's part of the challenge.
Yeah, it feels very far away. Look where the rear view mirror is, right? You can see how far back the driver sits. So we've got 2 versions of this car for those who care. Does anyone care? I don't know. But anyway, we've got the Lamar Spec version. This car raced at Le Mans in 1994 once, but it's more known for sprint racing in the US. Then we've going back to modern day, so we have the Indy cars. You'll note here that we've done both the oval low downforce versions of the car, as it would race in the Indy 500, and then we've got the high downforce road course versions. Now, it's worth noting that we have every single of the main teams and drivers that raced in the 2016 IndyCar series. It's an official partnership between us and IndyCar. We also worked closely with this team, Schmidt-Peterson Racing, and we got access to their engineers who worked very closely with us. We actually went with them to Indy 500 practice, and we had our physics engineers on the pit wall with this race team, looking over the shoulders of the race engineers of this car as they were setting it up for the 2016 Indy 500. That was quite interesting. We're measuring the temperature of the tires, and it was a fantastic collaboration.
I think that kind of stuff is really important as well. Like, it's great to have all the data, but to have some of the guys in the dev team going to the tracks, having these experiences with engineers and kind of getting to live it for a day or two, really translates into the look and feel and atmosphere of the game, as well as the physics.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love flogging this car at the Long Beach circuit. It's a phenomenal experience. It's a bit of an old school race car. It doesn't have any traction control. It's quite a beast to muscle around, but very satisfying to get control of this machine. So here you can see all the different Honda teams, and then we've also got all the different Chevrolet teams as well. So what else can we show?
I think we should probably do some driving soon, but I'll let you finish up if there's anything else you want to.
Well, it's worth noting, for one, people wanted to see that there is a card, and we've done a lot of work on the physics of this little guy. We actually have some new tracks coming forward as well. We weren't really satisfied with the handling of the cart in Project Cars 1, truth be told, and so we really wanted to spend extra time really trying to nail the physics experience of this car, or I should say go-kart. But yeah, we're interested to see what people think of the handling of the cart.
That was
once they get their hands
became
on it.
kind of a pet project for Nicholas Hamilton as well, didn't it? He spent a huge amount of time working with our physics guys specifically on that car, because it was really important to him on a kind of a fanboy level, if you like. He's never forgotten his love of karting, so he put a lot of effort into getting that right with us.
One other thing to point out here, we'll just start looking at some road cars, is we made a point of putting in the Holy Trinity, the Porsche 918, the McLaren P1, and Ferrari
Ferrari the Ferrari.
Yes. And I'm sure some people are going to want to put these cars head to head or do time attack competitions on our newly rebuilt laser scanned Nordschleife. Some absolutely stunning cars. I've seen the LaFerrari in person. I think it's an absolutely incredible machine. You've been flogging this car around the Nordschleife too, haven't you, recently?
Yes, a couple of weeks ago I was doing some testing with some of the dev team, and it is. You think it's going to, when you get into it, you expect it to be more difficult than it is, but the systems in the car work so well when you play it with authentic driving aids on. You're taking advantage of those systems that actually you can kind of play with it and move it around a little bit, and you don't find yourself in the wall somehow. It's a bit of a miracle that it works there as well as it does.
So you can see here, we've divided up the road cars by their. We actually used the Nordschleife times as a marker for which cars we would group together into classes. So Road A, these are the fastest road legal cars. Road B, you can see here also some fantastic machines. I'm a big fan of the XJ220S. We thought we'd get a slightly more extreme version of the XJ220.
I like that with all these extreme cars, we look at them and we think, it's not extreme enough. We need the extreme version.
Exactly. Beautiful machine. Stunning. Bit of 1990s style for you. And then we move on to the Road C machines. Yeah, there's just so much. We could sit here for hours, couldn't we? I also wanted just to show the, what did I want to show? Oh yeah, we've got some touring cars. The track day machines, because there's some pretty incredible machines here, which are not road legal, but they're still incredible track day weapons.
I saw one of these in person at Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it's ridiculous.
Absolutely incredible car. It's such a no race series would allow it to race like this. It's so extreme, but
the diffuser is this insane tiered 3 layers of, I mean, you can see it there, 3-4 layers of carbon fiber, one on top of the other. It's mad.
We worked very closely with Aston Martin in developing this car. We did a special sound recording session for it, but I think some people watching this will be very happy to hear that we got a lot of data from Aston Martin of the car going around different test circuits, and we've matched the in-game physics perfectly to the data that Aston Martin gave to us. Anything else you want to look at here?
Well, let's do some driving. There's a quick race I want to set up that I had set up earlier, and then I think we'll let the chat make some suggestions about what stuff they would want to see now that they've seen the list. Although, yeah, you should show them this thing because this thing's crazy.
Just shy of 1,000 horsepower. This car runs in the UK Time Attack series, and it's one of the most extreme time attack cars on the planet. There literally are no rules. The rules are more based around safety. And you can see, look at all those aero devices with the rear radiators. You can just see them there.
It's obscene.
Full ground effects, all-wheel drive.
Had a couple of requests actually before we leave the menus, Rod. One guy has been asking over and over again to see a stock car, so I don't know if you can grab that.
Oh, okay.
And then request just to see a couple of the prototypes as well, the LMP1 cars. And then we can do some racing.
So we have one stock car, the Ford Fusion. So this will come with settings for the super speedways and ovals, so you can run it around Daytona or Texas or Indianapolis. Or you can also put it on a road course. We've also done a lot of work with the AI systems so that these cars will draft quite nicely together, so you can run in a pack. And what the AI are doing also will feel right. There's also a spotter, a NASCAR style spotter, or the spotter also exists with IndyCar as well, which is telling you the proximity of cars around you as you're running in a pack.
And this will quickly show some LMP1 stuff, and then I think we'll do some driving.
Okay, so we've done LMP1, LMP2, LMP3, and then LMP 900, the slightly older version of the category from the late 90s to early 2000s. Yeah, we also wanted to show a little bit of the more beginner, prototypes, like the LMP3s. We work very closely with the ACO that organizes the Le Mans 24 Hours, and they have a ladder system where they start people out with the LMP3 cars, and if you do well there, you graduate to LMP2, and then if you do well there, you graduate to LMP1. And we wanted to showcase that ladder in the inside the career mode with Project Cars 2. With LMP2, we've got a lot of the cars returning that we had before, but then we've also got the Ligier in there as well. Some of the Merrick and the
RWD is the other one.
RWD cars from last time. Yeah. So there you go.
Cool.
You want to drive?
Do you want to pass me that controller and I'll quickly reset up the scenario we had going earlier. Real Max Live, that's a mean question. He says, can the Toyota LMP1 actually win a race? That's a bit harsh. Yeah, do you want to tell people?
Just on the last lap of the race, and no.
Yeah, they automatically stops on the last lap of every race. Yeah, Rod, do you want to tell people a little bit about your favourite cars and tracks while I set up what I had running earlier?
Well, I absolutely love driving the Zaxpeed Capri Group 5 car, and this car was a bit twitchy and difficult in Project Cars 1, not necessarily in a good way, at least for me. I'm a medium-level sim racer, but in Project Cars 2, with the updated tire model, it's absolutely transformed the Zaxpeed Capri, and you can really control when the back end goes out and how it goes out. You can almost enjoy sliding it just a little bit when the turbo lag kicks in, and it's an absolute beast. I absolutely love driving that. But we're also, one of my favorite new tracks in Project Cars 2, Knockhill in Scotland. It's a really fun track.
There you go. You saw me on the stream. You saw me turn the assists off. Right, let's get on with it. In the rain, because we like to make things easy for ourselves.
But you're trying to give that UK feeling, right?
A Scottish feeling, I think, specifically with this kind of weather.
Because it doesn't rain in the rest of England?
No, it just rains a lot in Scotland.
So this track was created using a technique that's new to our studio, of photogrammetry, drone photogrammetry. So we flew a drone over this circuit at different heights, and it would do an automated pass over the circuit, taking pictures at a slight angle, and you end up with several thousand high-res photographs and then you do a computer analysis of them, and you end up with a millimeter perfect machine. So those of you watching, take a look at just the subtle undulations of the track surface. And over the weekend, we had some racing drivers who race at Knock Hill come and look at Project Cars 2, and they absolutely couldn't believe the subtlety of the little bumps and things that we've added to the circuit here, all based on the scan data. And they said to us, only locals would know where these little bumps are, but it's all there, absolutely perfect.
It's nice as well to have these TCR cars in the game and be able to give more of a kind of BTCC style flavour to the proceedings, especially with a track like Knock Hill, which is just synonymous with people rolling those cars down the hill at the first corner.
Yeah, there's a lot of touring car fans out there, especially in Europe. And yeah, very tight racing, can get a bit argy-bargy sometimes, but generally quite a lot of fun. One thing I love about these cars is that the back end slides quite a bit. Because if you think about it, with a front-wheel drive car, the front tires have a lot of work to do. They have to brake, accelerate, and steer. So the common way that these cars are set up in real life is that they're set up with the back ends very loose. And we've done that as well with our in-game touring cars. And as a result, you find that you're just sliding quite a lot, especially on corner entry, which it's fairly progressive, and you can catch it whenever you want to. I think you've got the AI too low. You're just trying to make yourself look good, aren't you?
I think we're on...
See the puddle there? That's part of our live track 3.0
that one definitely dragged me in slightly.
simulation system. But if you look here, the sun is out now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we started out with a wet track. It was raining, and there's a full simulation system for how the water collects, where it pools, where it runs, where puddles form. And then now that the sun's out, we're now simulating the water evaporating. There's a drying line appearing, but in some areas of the track that have puddles, the water's going to persist there. And we can see that if you're going to go through a puddle, race ended.
So well, it was so fast you thought there was more race.
But as you drive over these puddles, you hydroplane, you can feel it in the steering. But the next time you come around, the puddle will have disappeared a little bit.
Let's see if we've got...
or grown if it started raining a bit more.
What else have we got people requesting in the chat? There are a lot of people asking for the Zac Speed because you said it was your favourite car, so that is definitely going to put me in the wall, but I think we might have to do it.
You can't...
I'll be fine.
You need traction control? Is that...
No, I'll just baby it around now, it'll be fine. It'll be good. Where are we? Zac Speed. I'm in the right place, aren't I?
Yeah.
There we go. Track preference, Rod, where do you like to drive this day?
I love driving it at Sonoma.
You really don't want to make this easy for me. You picked the one track in a game that I don't know. Anywhere else? Make another suggestion.
Spa.
Let's pick one. Spa, okay, right. I'm not doing this in the wet though. I've done the rain off. We'll do 2 laps as well, I think.
The trick with this car is you have to know when the boost is going to kick in. And you have to put your foot down early. If you're driving a normal naturally aspirated car, or a car without such crazy turbo lag, you would put your foot down much later. But here you put your foot down and you wait for the power to come in, so you have to time it perfectly. In some instances you have to short shift too. I'm helping you here.
Yeah, so coming out, this is without practice, this run.
So coming out in second gear, you have to short shift. Otherwise, when the boost comes in, the back end starts sliding.
Right, okay.
You have to be very strategic when you shift gears.
Let's make sure.
And when you put your foot down.
Okay,
that's not going to help. This car has no...
That's what I mean. It kind of went back to full, so I was making sure we had it on authentic,
okay,
so off effectively.
I got it.
Let's see how this goes. We'll do one quick run in this, maybe one lap.
This car has a fair amount of downforce too. So this car started racing in the late 70s into the early 80s. And it was one of the few cars that could compete with the Porsche 935, which we see up there, because it had full ground effects tunnels. but it just doesn't have nearly as much horsepower as the Porsche ahead of you. You're running about 200 horsepower less, but you're also lighter with more downforce. But you'll see as you go up through Eau Rouge here that the Porsches are going to start pulling away from you because you're going uphill, and they're just going to power away. But over the course of a lap, you should be able to claw them back because this car handles better.
We shall see. Whoa, you weren't kidding about the turbo lag.
Oh. Boo. Would you like me to drive?
We'll get it going again, don't worry.
You can also see
turbo lag is really big surprise when it kicked in. I thought I was pointing in a straight line.
No, you have to be very careful.
Whee.
In second gear, you have to short shift. Otherwise, when the lag kicks in, it goes crazy. But you get used to it after a while. And you can just enjoy sometimes. You just let the boost kick in and just let the back end go a little bit. No, you're afraid of it now.
I've been bitten once already. Yeah, I can see why you need to learn this car over time to kind of build that appreciation for where the turbo spike is.
But also, this car has full ground effects. It's got skirts and a full tunnel underneath, so you have to learn how it builds downforce too. And when you're racing against a Porsche 935, you're at a major power disadvantage, but you've got much better handling. So it's an interesting battle that you'd have over a racing season, but also on different types of tracks. So the Nordschleife, back in the day, this car was faster than the Porsche 935 by quite a lot. But on other tracks like at Le Mans, they didn't even bother bringing this car to Le Mans. It just couldn't compete because with the long straights that Le Mans had at the time. So be careful how you put your foot down here.
Maybe too careful. I think we'll do something else because there's a few people who pointed out in the chat to me already. This car was in the previous game as well. So let's grab something new. Nothing to do with me spinning it around on it at all, obviously.
Yeah, well, we should show some of the new tracks as well, right?
Yeah, where should we go? I guess people haven't seen this list yet because we've not really shown it on the stream yet. I'll find my way to the top. I'll scrub through, Rod. You tell me when to stop.
Let's see, what should we show? Why don't we show Coda?
Yeah. GP circuit.
Yeah.
We could do, let me set up, you keep talking, Rod. You tell people about some more of your favorites and I'll set up something a bit sort of IMSA style while you're talking.
Oh, you're going to put together a multi-class
Yeah, I think it'd be nice for people to see how that works as well, because we've been talking about it a lot, but they can actually see me go through the process.
Okay.
So I'll go with the Nissan. And then we will, that's all okay. So opponent settings, this is where the tricks live for this stuff.
What's amazing here is that you can completely customize the experience that you want. So we're going to be authentic to the real life American sports car racing. We're going to put GTE, GT3.
Press the run button, I'm doing what you did earlier.
And LMP2.
There we go.
But you could really do anything you wanted. If you wanted open wheel cars against prototypes, against historic rallycross cars, you could do that.
I'm going to put a qualifying session on as well to make sure we're in the right group when the race starts.
Okay. One thing I like doing is putting together races which are similar to the VLN series, which runs only at the Nürburgring. Where I put together GT3s, GT4, and then I put together different types of small touring cars. Even the small Clio Cup cars. Because you get such a wide variety of cars which race on the Nürburgring. It's a lot of fun to be dicing, battling against AI or other players while slicing through these slower touring cars. So we're at COTA, or Circuit of the Americas.
For the sake of showing this quickly, I actually did driving in the qualifying session and kind of let the pack drive out into the session and then pick my way through some Gte cars.
Okay. So this is one of the new circuits to Project Cars 2. So it's going to be scanned. In this case, this one was laser scanned. So we sometimes use different techniques, the photogrammetry, drone scanning technique, or laser scanning. A lot of it depends on what's best for the scenario. So some circuits are beside airports. For example, Daytona is beside an airport and you're not allowed to fly drones there. So the only way to get an accurate scan is to do a laser scan. Look at all that carbon fiber.
You'll note I'm actually having to manually drive out of the pits here, which is new for Project Cars 2.
Yeah, you can even do a manual cool-down lap after the race ends and drive back to the pits if you want to. Never have the AI drive the car at all.
Manual pit stops as well.
With pit crew. This is a fantastic circuit to visit in real life. The interesting thing about it is that there's bridges over the circuit and you're allowed to spectate from them. You can just stand right over the track and look down during the race. And I've never been to another racetrack like that. I still haven't quite learned this track yet.
That first section is very finicky. If you mess up one apex, you pay for it for the whole way through the section because it's just corner after corner. We're going to catch some of these GT cars that left the garage before us. Obviously we're in qualifying here rather than a race scenario, but you can get an idea of what it's like to interact with the other cars in the pack. And probably get an idea of the closing speed into here because I can brake so much later than he can. And then have to be a polite prototype driver and not just take him out on the way past.
I find it hard now to not drive in a multi-class race in Project Cars 2 when we're testing the game. I find, say you make a mistake and you go off track a little bit and you're in a single player race, if you're driving against all the same cars, the opposition's going to be gone, right? But often, if you're, say you're leading the race and you make a mistake, and then you're further back in the pack, I find once the leaders start coming up on back markers, there's a whole strategy with how you overtake back markers. And you can often gain a lot of time back just based on lap traffic, and there's an ebb and flow to it with the multi-class racing, which I find a lot of fun.
You've always been telling me, Rod, lately that one of your favourite things to do in the game at the moment is the kind of VLN style multi-class stuff. Yeah,
I love hunting down Renault Clios in my GT3 car. Although I don't know how you talk and drive at the same time. I can't do that.
Well, it's working now that I'm driving something I'm more comfortable with. It didn't work in the DAC Speaker 3 earlier.
The young chap needs his downforce.
That's true. If anything, I would say that I think it's kind of that strange thing about sim racing. You see, as I lock up going into here, you see people struggle with high downforce cars because they're used to driving road cars in older video games or whatever. But actually, if you treat them the right way and you just kind of push them a little bit, they do reward you back with grit.
I should talk a little bit about some of the physics updates that we've done. We've reworked our tire model and added some new code to better replicate certain things that happen with tire modeling. So we have a full carcass simulation. So that means that each tire is a squishy piece of rubber, and that is fully modeled. It's not like it's a hard shape that's driving on the ground. It's a complete three-dimensional virtual tire, if you will. And we're tracking the temperature of the rubber, the temperature of the air inside, how it's expanding, or contracting, if it's high or low pressure, and how hot the tire is, the depth of the rubber. At any time, we're tracking the rubber as it interacts with the surface of the road. There's, I believe it's 128 points of contact. We're also looking at the road surface. Is there dust on the track? Is it rubbered in? Is it wet? What's happening there? And we replicate all these things. We replicate the stiffness of the sidewall, even the heat coming from the brakes into the rim, into the tire. All these things are fully replicated. But we have a new bit of code which we've added to the tires, which we're calling bite. And you really feel this when you're driving a high downforce car like this Ligier LMP2 car. And that is when you initially turn in hard and you shock the tire with a lot of side load, the car will immediately turn. There's no delay in turning, waiting for the tire to grip, maybe understeering a bit, and then the car turning. And it's a feeling that I hope some of you can understand what I'm talking about. But it's something which has transformed a lot of the handling of especially the high downforce cars.
A few people asking for IndyCar, so we'll go with one of your favourite combos, Rod. If I can find... What's it listed as? What do we list IndyCar under?
Under IndyCar.
No, we don't.
Go to Honda then. Oh wait, that was a class, Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there we are.
We can take the multi-class off for this, I think. We don't want GT3 cars. Although you can do that if you're a crazy person. But yeah,
that's incorrect. Incorrect method. You're not allowed to do that. Okay, you are allowed to do that. So the Long Beach track was a massive project for us. We decided very early on that it was going to be the biggest production for us because building a road course, there's a lot more objects. There's buildings everywhere that you have to replicate. So we did a double whammy of laser scan and photogrammetry scan on the circuit to get all the road markings perfect and to get the surface perfect. We actually had to have a police escort driving the scanner around. It was on the back of a truck as we were scanning the circuit. And I go to the Long Beach Grand Prix every year, and it's incredible how we've really captured the essence of Long Beach.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure actually to have another street circuit in the game and to be able to play chicken with the barriers like you were saying earlier. It's a very long pit lane. But we'll get going eventually. We're going to have cold tyres on the first lap as well. So
I usually stay in the hotel there on the right, just over there, yeah. Good coffee shop over there, just to the right there. Bubba Gump's is on the left over here. One thing that we've added audio-wise, which is quite cool, is the sound of the cars reverberates off the walls. As you get closer to the walls, you can hear a shift in sound, which is all adds to the feeling of immersion. It's especially apparent when you go under the bridge here, a bit further down the track, where there's a covered area. It's more than a bridge.
It's a bit special with the 3D audio and VR as well.
There's a good pizza place right there on the left. Yeah. Yeah, so just listen here to the audio as we go under this covered section. You hear that? The reverberation.
You asking me that question, or are you asking the stream the chat that question?
Yeah, they're not answering.
They're very quiet.
There's also some drift markers from the weekend before Long Beach Grand Prix. See on the left those markers? So the weekend before the Long Beach Grand Prix is the Formula Drift drifting competition, and those markers are there for the clipping points. So those of you who want to drift the one section where they have the drift competition, you can still use those markers for rear clipping. What's your best time here?
I'm trying to think back to when we did that Rallycross announcement event earlier in the year in London. We had the lap time competition on this.
I think I've seen Tommy Milner do I think it was a 108 or was it a 107?
That's fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a 108.
Tommy's a bit.
I'm good for I think a 111, something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe I've got a vague memory of 112 in my head from that event we did, but I'm sure I could get that down with a bit more practice. I'm sure you can see this in the stream as well. We did the physics live stream last week where we were talking about all the improvements there, but you can see I'm not getting into any weird slides, or cars not swapping side to side on me in any weird ways. It's just
one thing I find amazing
predictable
is on the force feedback, you can feel the car tighten as you build downforce. It feels tight.
Yeah.
And that's something which psychologically really makes you feel like you're in a downforce race car.
You can
There's
really
a certain
feel
weight that comes in as it builds aero load.
If you lock up like I just did there through the fountain section, you can really feel the car dragging in the direction of whichever corner you've locked up as well, which is gives you a kind of feeling, an intuitive feeling to the brake locking, and actually allows you to respond to it in the right way rather than just lifting off the brakes. And
are you doing the technique with high downforce cars where you hit the brake really hard, and then as the aero load lessens, then you lessen the pressure on the brake?
That's why you're hearing the. God, that was very deep. That was a bad example, but that's why you're kind of hearing this little very close to braking lockup happening in some of the corners as I wait.
You can see a lot of the animated characters around the side. There's photographers, all sorts of unique characters that are animated.
We'll do one more lap of this, and I think we'll play one more scenario before we call it quits, because I could quite frankly stay here and drive this all evening. You were telling me you were up till 1 AM playing the game last night, Rod?
I can't stop. I've been working on my heel and toe technique. I've got a 8 shifter. Although I just ordered another shifter for the other side of the seat for the right-hand drive cars.
So there's something for the chat there. If you didn't know, we're racing nerds already. Rod's going to buy a second shifter for his rig.
I already did. I think it's arriving today. Got to add it to my play seat.
Up until 2 AM tonight. Now you can do it both ways around.
We didn't show the historic sports or GT and touring cars.
Oh yeah. Well, let's finish up with that after all.
Why don't we load those in? Those are a lot of fun to drive.
Let's back that out. Yeah, so we'll have one more scenario then, so probably another 10 minutes or so on the stream before we finish up. So, what do you want me to drive, Rod?
Drive the Fair Lady. So if you go to Nissan,
Hang on, go to manufacturer again.
we're going old school on you.
I think this is the one you've had me drive before, isn't it?
Yeah,
I quite like this one.
240.
240.
Yeah, look at that.
And
So
then
amazing.
which classes?
Can you bring it up in the?
Yeah, hang on. Let's go back in there.
We need to have an appreciation moment of this car.
Tell people why they should appreciate this one so much. What's special about the 240?
Just look at it.
Apart from the looks, give people a bit of the history of it.
Well, this particular car raced in Japan. It's quite well known for racing at Fuji Speedway in the early 70s. This is a 1973 car. It's also got what's called a G-nose on the front, which makes it extra cool, as you noted to yourself when you thought, oh, that has a G-nose on it.
Yeah, I thought I spotted the G-nose.
So we had to go to Japan to get all the references for this car. But I find this car just incredible to drive. It really doesn't mind with the back end hanging out, and you can control it and predict what it's going to do. And we've also got some fantastic machines for it to run up against as well. So,
what do you want me to stick it in?
So if you go in with
how many classes?
Just 2 classes.
Okay, let's clear that. And then which is the extra one you want?
So what we'll go a GTA and GTB.
Where am I looking? Have I
Go
looked?
down, scroll down.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
So just be.
Yeah, those two.
Cool.
So we've tried to gather a really fantastic group of GT and touring cars from the late 60s to early 70s, about 1968 to 1974 or so. Quite a diverse group of cars, which belong together on the track and work really nicely. And let's go with a historic circuit as well. What historic circuits are you good at?
None of them. You picked the wrong guy. Do you want to do that?
Ah, the children.
Should we swap places? I can mute the microphones if you want to unmic.
I think the cables are gonna get all tangled up if we
If you
start
just
switching.
unhook yourself, I can swap it around.
All right.
Let me mute the microphones for 2 seconds so we don't drown everybody out with white noise, and then we'll swap places. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, we'll be back in 2 seconds, and then we'll have Rob do some driving to finish the stream. Okay, we're back again. No pressure though, Rod, after you complained about my Zach speed driving.
But I'm not going to be able to talk anymore because I don't multi-process.
I can talk. You press A and you make the car go fast.
Well, I just wanted to point out here some of the cars that we have. So you can see that we have some late 60s Trans Am Camaros. We've got the Ferrari Daytona Competition there, and all sorts of fantastic machines. So we've selected the rolling start here.
Should point out as well, this is a circuit we've got that's new for the new version of the game. This is classic Monza, which includes the old Grand Prix circuit in this variation, mixed with the banking as well of the old Monza oval. So Rod's giving himself a bit of a challenge here.
They are having some problem here. We'll just cut on the grass here. Look at all those Ferraris, aren't they beautiful?
It's nice to have the period era advertising and everything to go in there as well. Adds to the whole atmosphere of this historic stuff, which, as you say, Rod, is very much not my speciality, but right up your street.
I don't know how people raced here.
It doesn't seem natural. I'm going to shut up for a second.
You can see the windshield wipers vibrating there.
I'm going to be quiet for a second because we did have a few people in the chat asking to hear some of the audio, so I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes.
A friend of mine owns one of these cars, which we did the sound recording with. Oh! See if we can draft off these guys. Get the draft. Yeah. Ah! Is it going to be foggy the whole race?
No, it's going to go to it'll brighten up over the next sort of half a lap or so, I think.
Oh, that Ferrari's got a higher top speed than me.
It's awesome going from the prototype stuff that I was doing earlier and the GT stuff earlier as well, the modern GT cars, to watching you drive behind these guys and just seeing the body roll in the cars. Having that variety in the game, to see that level of history.
There's a bit of tarmac on the side here. Sorry, I was saying there's a bit of tarmac on the side there that you can slide out to. I'm just to get to grips with this car on this track. You can see the old banking there that we're going under right now. The question is, do I take this flat? No, I'm going to not take it flat. So where should I brake into Parabolica? How about here? Almost drove into them.
The whole dynamic of this is so different to the modern racing. It does send you back in time. It's strange to look at. Especially when you go from one to the other like that. We had no in between. We didn't do any 90s or 80s stuff. Just all the modern stuff and then straight back to the 60s.
Squirrel into braking.
I'll nudge your way through, Rod. There you go. Find the draft again.
I think that Ferrari's faster than me. Let's run up here by the wall.
That looks safe.
One accident and you're in the trees.
We'll just have you do the 2 laps of this and then we'll close out this week. Should say actually as well, guys, I know in the first stream we did last week, there were a lot of people asking about online features and that kind of thing. So next week I'll be back again, but I'll be bringing everybody's favourite slightly mad employee, Andy Tudor, along for the ride. And Andy's going to be talking about some of the online championships features that we're bringing to the new game to make league racing that much more easy to organise. We'll show off some of the new time trial and leaderboard stuff as well, and show you some replays and how they're going to work with the new spectator mode and the broadcaster and director modes as well. So if you like your league racing and your esports, the stream next week is the one to check out.
Yeah. Were there any other questions that need answering?
Let me take my microphone off for 2 seconds. I'll grab my laptop and then we'll see if we can take the last couple of questions from the chat. Okay, so I'm mic'd up again, so if you have any last questions, guys, before we finish off, Rod's probably got another 3 or 4 minutes left to go. So people are pointing out, Rod, that I didn't notice you doing it actually, sat here watching you, but on the banking you were apparently tilting your head instinctively.
Oh, really?
Actual Vision said he thinks that head tilting adds 3/10 a lap, so try and sit straight.
If I do this as well, will it get quicker?
You might need to against these Ferraris. They do look like they're quicker than you in a straight line.
Oops, I forgot to brake. You can see the Trans Am Camaros up there. Let's see if we can get up to them.
See if I can find some questions. Yeah, good question actually. Can you set classes in multi-classes in multiplayer? Yes, you can. The multi-class stuff is across the whole game. You can choose any classes you want, so you can do any mixture of the classes you saw. There's no restrictions at all.
And you can be racing for position within your class as well.
Yeah, so as well as you being able to put fields of different classes of cars together, it tracks, for instance, if you're in a championship, we can track the points for each class separately. We track the gaps for each class separately during the race as well. So it's proper multi-class racing. It isn't just having a list of a variety of cars on track. It's actually going to track each class individually as well. There's some interesting questions going through as well. Oz Wheels, yes, the penalty, we are running with the penalties turned off at the moment. We'll see some more of the penalty stuff in next week's stream when we're talking more about competitive play. Actual Vision wants to ask you, Rod, how you keep your beard in such great shape.
Go to the barber once a week. And I can't grow much else than this either.
I mean, a question actually, but you may not struggle to answer this while you're driving. It's a little bit of a complex one. There was one from Ashley Lowles was asking, what's the process like if you try to add a defunct manufacturer to the game? I guess we have a couple of defunct manufacturers actually in some of the pre-order bonus DLC, like the Panos car is kind of a defunct race too.
No, they exist.
They still going?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because we were looking at some brands. We didn't actually end up making the cars anymore, but we were researching a defunct sports car manufacturer, and we're trying to figure out who owned the rights. And I'm in the wrong gear here. Answering questions or spoiling my lap times. But yeah, the tricky thing there is that there may be someone that's bought up the rights and you don't know who they are. I'm just trying not to hit this.
Like trying to remake an old movie or something. Nobody knows who owns the script or whatever.
So in general, we tend to avoid things like that. We try and research who owns the rights, or if there is anyone that owns the rights. We've also got some friends who have die-cast model car companies. So we work with the die-cast company TSM, and they've helped us with some advice about how these things work.
Cool.
But in general, we only license from manufacturers that exist, that there's someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps. Cool. I think we'll leave it there for this week. Tune in next week, guys, on Thursday at 7 PM UK time. We'll have Andy Tudor along to talk about online multiplayer and all of that. If you missed any of the stream or you came late, you can obviously catch up with the archive on Twitch or on Facebook, and we'll have it on YouTube tomorrow. Don't forget to follow Project Cars Game on all the social media channels, of course. And the game will be out on September 22nd this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
Can I drive some more?
You can drive some more, but I'm going to turn the stream off now. I'm going to turn all the lights off in the office.
I need to bring the Porsche 935 up. Anyway, thanks everyone. See you.
Guys.
Bye-bye.